The next bit of pre-professional writing I'd like to discuss with you is graduate school admission essays. So for those of you that decide you'd like to continue in school rather than jumping straight into the workforce, this essay is absolutely critical, and writing it well could determine whether or not you get into a graduate school of your choice. The purpose of a graduate school admissions essay is first to set you apart from all of the other candidates. Remember, all of these candidates are going to have impressive test scores, great grades on their transcripts, and most likely really positive letters of recommendation. In other words, no matter where you apply for graduate school, it is very likely that the pool of applicants will have similar academic achievements. And this admissions essay is the first thing that's going to set you apart. Most graduate departments agree that the graduate school admissions essay is often the deciding factor in your admission. And two of the things that are most deciding about your essay is how it demonstrates your knowledge of the program you're applying to, and in what ways you highlight experiences that demonstrate your accomplishments and qualifications. So let's talk first about how to prepare to write an effective graduate school admissions essay. First, you need to read about the school's program description, mission statement, and the professor's specialties within the program. After researching your program, you need to ask yourself, what makes me a good fit for this program? Or which experiences and qualities best illustrate how I can contribute to the program? The more specific and in detail you can speak to the program itself and how you fit into this program, the better. Remember also that just like any other writing assignment, you need to outline. Okay, so these two questions that I just asked are your pre-writing. Free write, idea map, do whatever you need to do to pre-write and then begin to outline them. And then let's go on to the drafting stage. In your introduction, you need to describe what you want to study, why you want to study it, and why the chosen school is a good fit. And you do this by identifying specific aspects of the program. For example, specific professors you would like to work with and why. It's so important to avoid general statements, unessential information, and cliches. For example, for as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a doctor. So has everyone else that's applying to medical school, right? So just avoid all of those types of general statements and information and cliches. Instead, let your own personality, in a very professional way, show through your writing. One of the most important parts of your essay is deciding which experiences to use. So if you remember, just a few lectures back we talked about personal essays and how important it is to choose an experience that you can dig deeper into in order to derive some type of meaning out of that experience. The same can be said in choosing which experiences to highlight in your admissions essay. But it's also important to know how to incorporate those experiences. So the first way is to know how to transition quickly and clearly from your introduction into your experiences. Here's an example. One opportunity that prepared me for the medical program at Harvard is, and then you describe the opportunity. So the thesis of your graduate school admissions essay is simply where you want to study, why you want to study there, right? And then the transition is to jump straight into those opportunities and experiences that highlight why you are a good fit. When it comes to the number of experiences, it's also best to be narrow and specific rather than listing a bunch of achievements and a bunch of experiences. So describe one or two experiences, usually no more than two, that clearly illustrate some of the qualities you already identified. For example, your intellectual curiosity or your commitment. While you do this, be concise, specific, and focus on highlighting your own qualities more than narrating the story. So in other words, discuss what you learned, how you grew, how this has shaped who you've become, and the qualities that you now possess, rather than focusing on the story itself. Remember though, however, when you do this, and you're focusing on your own qualifications, your growth and your development, never exaggerate or embellish the facts. It's the worst thing you can do. Don't exaggerate. Instead, choose experience like research or work, internships, and so on that demonstrate your knowledge of and interaction with the current field you want to study, and then use those to demonstrate or to highlight the individual qualities that you possess in order to be a good fit within that current field and within that specific program. Finally, move on to the conclusion, where it is okay to assert yourself as a qualified candidate based on the experiences that you've shared. In other words, my experiences in geological research and fieldwork make me a capable candidate for your geology program. Okay, so you don't need to beat around the bush in this section. It's time to assert yourself based on the discussion that you've just provided in the body as a capable candidate for whatever graduate program you're applying for. And then, like everything else when it comes to writing, you need to revise. This is so important. This needs to be one of the best pieces of writing you've ever done. One of the cleanest, most error-free pieces of writing you've ever done. So, follow the steps that we've already talked about over and over again. Check for the overall unity, the unity of body paragraphs, the effectiveness of each paragraph, the correct use of citations, if you've included any, sentence style, sentence level, word choice, spelling, and finally, spell check. But my biggest piece of advice is to ask one, or in best cases, multiple trusted professors to read it and to give you feedback. Most of them would usually also be happy to read multiple versions. So get the best draft you possibly can, revise it yourself, and then ask some trusted professors to read it and to give you some feedback. And then revise it again and ask them to give you a final read. Okay? And then revise it again, depending on their final comments, before you submit it. Remember to also do things like reading it aloud, reading it in different formats, paper and digital. Everything you have to do in order to make sure that this is the best and most solid and clean piece of writing you've done. And if you need some extra eyes, send it on my way and I'll give you some feedback as well.